Hi guys, welcome to another video of mine. Now this video is all about my secrets of getting a band 8.5, as most of you already know that I got a band 8.5 in Academic IELTS. So in this one, I'm going to share my secrets and the tips that I'm going to give you from my personal experience and the advice. Okay, now this one is part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, I'm going to leave the link at the end of this video and you can watch that one as well, because this one I'm going to carry on from that video as well. So let's get started with all the tips. So tip number 5, as I already said, the first 4 tips are in the other video, so if you haven't watched it, please watch the other one as well. So tip number 5 is don't ignore IELTS writing task 1. Okay, now as we all know, writing is a big problem for many of us, and many people struggle to get a mark in the IELTS writing. But we never, from the IELTS examiner, we never get a detailed feedback or our detailed marks to know whether we did well in task 1 or task 2 and where we are lacking. So, but if you're struggling to get a mark in your IELTS writing, there is a high chance that you are struggling with the task 1. And that's what happened with me. Initially, I was really struggling with task 1, and that was the reason that initially I didn't get the mark and I got a 6.5, and in the second attempt I got a 7.5 later on. So if you're not getting the mark that you need, it's probably that you are ignoring your task 1. So if you want a band 7 or higher, please don't ignore your task 1. Now in task 1, there are 2 kind of skills that they are actually assessing. Now, as most of you would already know, that we get some kind of graph, whether it's a line graph, whether it's a bar chart, you can get a table. So you can get all sorts of graphs, okay? And what you have to do is that you have to describe what you see in these graphs. Now, the main thing that most people forget is it's just not about the describing what you see, okay? It is basically analytical skills. Now you might ask me, what do I mean by analytical skills? Well, analytical skills means that whatever thing you are being represented with, whether it's a line graph, whether it's a bar chart, or whatever it is, you have to analyze it, not just describe it. And analyzing means you have to compare and contrast things, okay? It also means that you have to figure out the general trends, okay? Now, let's say you have been given a table, and the table shows the cost of, let's say, rackets. Yeah, cost of rackets in 3 different countries, okay? And it's in 3 different years. So what was the cost of racket in 2005, then 2006, and maybe 2010? Now, you just don't have to describe it, okay? Whatever figures you have been given in the table, you have to tell what are the similarities and what are the differences in the data that you have been represented, okay? So maybe the price of the rackets was the same in two of the countries. Maybe in Australia and America they were the same, but there was a huge gap between the highest and the lowest price. So you have to analyze all these kind of things, okay? And don't worry if you don't know a lot about task 1 thing, because I'm going to make it a separate video where I will in detail discuss about task 1, what kind of things you have to do in task 1, how you can get a band 7 or higher in task 1. But for the purpose of this slide, you have to remember that task 1 is just not descriptive. It is assessing your analytical skills, okay? And you should, if you want a band 7 or above in IELTS writing, it's must that you improve your analytical skills. Also, another thing that task 1 assesses is your summarizing skill. It assesses whether you have the ability to take out the important features from whether a graph or a bar chart or a table that you have been represented with. And it is a skill, and you can only develop it by practicing it. Now, what you can do is, from my personal experience, because I was kind of struggling with tables initially, so when you're practicing, instead of just writing the whole thing down, just look at a table, let's say, and try to figure out what are the important features, what are the important things. If you had to write a limited number of words, you were given a limit, okay? There is a limit in task 1, obviously, it's 150 words. If you just had to write, let's say, 50 words, okay, and you have to pick out 3 important points that you can see from that graph or from that table, what were the 3 most important things that you would tell somebody when you were describing this table or this graph? And that is the kind of thing the task 1 assesses. It assesses your ability to pick out important features of a particular graph or a bar chart or a table. And even if you don't have the time to practice everything, just take out 5 minutes and try to practice this thing, okay? And obviously use the official material, the Cambridge books that they publish almost every 2 years or every 1 year or something like that. So it's very important that you improve your analytical skills and your summarizing skills if you want to get a good mark in task 1. That is my tip for you guys. Now let's move to the next one. Tip number 6 is familiarize yourself with different question types. Now, as you might already know, that in the IELTS exam, you get a variety of questions. And in order to get a band 7 or higher in your IELTS exam, you must know how to tackle each type. Now, let's talk about task 1 and task 2 in detail. Now, in task 1, you might get a map, you might get a bar chart, a pie chart, or a line graph. Now, let me tell you something. What people sometimes do, they avoid the area that is difficult. Like, let's say if you really struggle with bar charts, sometimes what we tend to do is we don't actually practice something that we really struggle with. And that's what the mistake is, guys. Always remember to focus on your weak areas. Now, I'm going to give you my example. In my case, I was struggling with maps. So, in the second attempt, what I did was that I allocated more time to practicing more maps. So that was how I improved. And this is my tip for you guys. If you are struggling with one particular area, one particular type of question, you must practice that as much as you can and try to improve on that. Also, let's talk about task 2. As you might already know that there are different types of essay questions that you might get in task 2. You might get an opinion essay or a discussion essay where you're given 2 different views and you have to discuss that. You might get a problem and solution essay so that you, for example, you would be given a problem. Let's say overcrowding. Okay, overcrowding in major cities, that's a problem. So what solutions can you suggest? What are the causes and what are the solutions? So a cause and a solution essay as well. Now, the important thing that you must remember is that each type of question has a different structure. And we are talking about task 2 here, guys. So you must be aware of the differences, okay? You must know the structure for each type of question. Let's say you get a discussion essay in your exam. Now, in discussion essay, you will always be given 2 opposing views, 2 different views, and you would have to discuss both these views. Whereas in the opinion essay, you would be given a statement. Let's say some people believe that increase in pollution is due to a rise in the number of car ownership. So that's a statement. And you have to tell whether you agree with the statement or whether you disagree. Now, in this kind of essay, in this opinion essay, you have to give your opinion. You have to tell whether you agree or you disagree. Also, you must support your opinion, okay, with ideas and with examples. So whatever ideas you put on the paper, you should always expand them and you should give examples to support your main ideas. This is very important. And guys, if you haven't watched my other videos where I have discussed this thing in detail, you must watch my other videos so that you can get an idea of what I'm talking about if you're struggling with it. But for the purpose of this slide, what I'm going to say is make sure that you practice different question types And please don't neglect, if you're struggling with one particular question type, practice as much as you can, because it is human tendency to avoid something that is difficult or you struggle with. But remember, the key to success in IELTS is actually just practicing as much as you can. Okay, now let's move to the next one. Tip number 7 is improve your general level of English. Now, let me tell you something, guys. IELTS exam actually assesses your general level of English. Now, I've written that down and I'm telling you, immerse yourself in English. It means surround yourself in English before your IELTS exam. Now, let me give you a few tips. How can you improve your general level of English for the purpose of your IELTS exam? How can you improve your general level of English so that you can get a higher band in your IELTS exam? Now, you might know that IELTS exam actually assesses 4 different areas. It assesses your speaking ability, it assesses your listening ability in the listening exam, it assesses your writing and your reading. Now, I'm going to give you tips regarding all these 4 different areas, okay? Let's say if English is not your first language and you want to improve your mark in the speaking section, guys, try to converse as much as you can in English. This is the key. Even if it was in English and you were learning some new language, this is the way that you can actually learn a new language, okay? If you converse more in that language, if you converse more in English for the purpose of your IELTS exam, it will obviously build up your confidence. And obviously your English will also improve your fluency, okay? So it's very important. Also, guys, I'm just going to add one more tip here. It's better to converse with somebody who has got a better level of English than you, because if you're conversing with somebody who is at the same level as you, you're not going to improve. So it's always best to practice with somebody or do speaking sessions or whatever with somebody who has a higher level of English than you have, so that they can tell you your mistakes and you can improve on that. This is really important, guys. Now let's move to the listening one. How can you improve your listening skills? Well, to improve listening, you should listen to a lot of English programs. You can listen to English radio. You can watch English movies. Also, a very helpful way is to listen to online podcasts. Now, there are a lot of free podcasts online, and you really don't have to pay for it, okay? Now, how this will help in improving your IELTS band is because in the listening part, in the listening test of the IELTS exam, you will encounter different accents in the listening section. Well, it will be different kind of British accents. Let me tell you, you might hear an Irish accent, or you might hear a Welsh accent. So from different areas of the UK, you have different accents and you can hear that. Or it can even be Australian, because it's either it's Australia or it's UK who actually sets the IELTS exam papers. So you can get any kind of accent. And if you're a non-native speaker, guys, it really helps. So listen to as much in English as you can. Listen to English programs, English radios, watch English movies. It's really important so that you can familiarize yourself with different kind of accents that you might encounter in your exam. This is the way to improve. Now, let's move to the hardest part of the IELTS exam. That is, of course, writing. Now, guys, try to set a target for yourself. I have already made a video about planning for your IELTS exam, and I've always stressed in my other videos how important it is to actually plan when you're preparing for your IELTS exam. If you haven't watched my other videos, do watch it so that you can prepare accordingly. Now, set a target for yourself. It obviously depends on how much time you have for your preparation, but set a target of at least 1 to 2 essays every day. Now, guys, I'm not joking on this one. This is actually true, because when I was preparing for my IELTS exam, I would literally write 1 or 2 essays per day. Most of the time, it was 2 essays per day. And secondly, it's very important, guys, to get it corrected from somebody who can give you better feedback. Because The whole purpose of the corrections is when you get your writings corrected from someone who's got a better understanding of the IELTS exam and who's got a higher level of English, is that it improves your mark. And it improves your mark because it tells you where you're lacking, what kind of mistakes you're making, what kind of mistakes you have to avoid. And it really helps. Also, guys, for the purpose of your writing exam and also speaking, obviously, as well, it's very important that you improve your grammar and your spellings too. Let me give you an example. Let's say if you're struggling with one part of grammar, which maybe articles, let's say you're struggling with articles and you don't know where you have to put a, an, or the. So what you can do is you can go online and you can read the rules regarding articles, because there are a lot of rules. So just try to familiarize yourself with those rules, at least with the important ones. And then try to do practice exercises. Now there are a lot of practice exercises that you can do online. Just go and Google, like, articles exercises, or whatever area that you're struggling with in the grammar part. You can always go online and practice once you have read through the rules. And with the spellings, of course, when you improve your vocabulary and you learn a new word, let's say, you can always make sure that, you make sure that you know the correct spelling. Write it in your vocabulary book. I have already made a video about the vocabulary. If you haven't watched it, watch that one, because there I tell you about how you can make a different vocabulary book and how you can use it to improve your mark in the IELTS exam. Also, now let's move to the reading. Read as much as you can. What you can read English articles. They are available online as well. You can read newspapers. You can read journals. If you're a science student, you'll obviously be interested in journals. Also, when you read, for the purpose of your IELTS exam, guys, you have to develop two kind of skills while reading. First is speed reading. Now, as we all know, that IELTS is just not about all these things. It's also about your time management, how you manage your time in the IELTS exam. This is a major problem for many students. So what you have to do, you have to learn to read quickly. Okay? Speed reading is a skill, and IELTS examiner assess you on that, because you have been given a set time in which you have to read 3 passages or 6 passages, depending on whether you're doing your academic IELTS or whether you're doing your general IELTS. So whatever you're doing, but you have to read a lot of passages in a limited time. So as you have limited time in the exam, it's important to develop reading skills and read quickly as possible. Also, you have to understand what you're reading, okay? Because this is another thing that IELTS exam assesses, your comprehension. Comprehension means your ability to comprehend, to understand the text that you're reading. So let's say if you're reading a text from some journal and you've read 2 passages or you've read 2 paragraphs, try to see if you can understand the main topics or the main points, what the writer is actually trying to convey. Because in the reading section, when you do the questions in your IELTS exam, if you don't understand the reading passages, it's very difficult for you to get the answers correct or find the correct answers. So make sure when you are reading for your IELTS exam, you have to make sure that you understand them. So develop your speed reading skills, and secondly, understand the text that you're reading. And do this while you're practicing for your IELTS exam at home, using the official material, using the official Cambridge books that I've always mentioned in my other slides as well, in other videos as well. So this is the way you can improve your general level of English and obviously improve your IELTS marks. Okay, now let's move to the next bit. Okay, guys, so this was all for today. Now, guys, let me tell you something. All these steps that I've told you, this is all coming from my personal experience, and they have really worked for me, all these steps. And as I already said in the beginning of the video, I got a band 8.5 overall, and I got a band 8.5 in listening, in reading, and in speaking, and in writing I got a 7.5. So guys, these are my personal tips, and I'm sure that they will work for you if you apply them while you're practicing, while you do your IELTS exam, and they can really help you to boost your score. Now, at the end of this video, I also want to thank all my subscribers. I've got almost like 170 or 175 subscribers now. And it hasn't been long when I started my channel. So I want to say a big thank you to all of you. And I wish you all the luck for your IELTS exam. And I'll make sure that I keep on posting new videos so that I can help you guys with getting your IELTS score that you really need for whatever purpose you're doing your IELTS exam. Now, what you have to do, how you can support me is, if you found the video helpful, obviously like the videos. Feel free to leave any comments or any criticism or whatever. Like, if you liked it, let me know. If you want me to improve something, let me know as well. And share this video with your friends or anybody that you know is preparing for your IELTS exam, because these videos are really important, because they will help you, because I share all my personal tips and advice from my personal experience. And if it worked for me, I'm sure it can work for you guys as well. Also, if you are new to my channel and this is the first time you're watching my video, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can benefit from all my other videos as well. And it's obviously free, so you don't have to pay anything. But you can obviously benefit from whatever I tell you in these videos. And lastly, thank you so much for watching this video. And I wish you all the luck for your IELTS preparation. And guys, as I always say, stay positive, but work really hard, because that is the only way that you can succeed in whatever, not only in IELTS exam, but generally in life as well. So thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.